My name is Jeff Schneider, and I'm playing Lord Leonard Astor in KVTA's production of Peter and the Starcatcher. Lord Astor is actually a Starcatcher, but I won't say any more than that. When I was reading on the role, and I saw a lot of references to amulets. Both Lord Astor and his daughter Molly Astor both have these special amulets that Starcatchers carry. And when I saw a few of the other productions that had been done, some of them were lit up. And the story behind the amulets is that they contain a substance called star stuff. And you'll learn a little bit more about that throughout the show, but there's a little bit of magic involved. So when I saw a few different versions of it in other productions, I thought, you know what? I think I could make something that would work really nice. So about a year ago, I started getting into 3D printing. And the body of the amulet, both the face and the gold body, are actually 3D printed on a printer. It takes about 3 hours for the body and about 2 hours for the face itself. But that wasn't enough for me. I decided to expand my abilities a little bit, and in addition to the 3D printing, I got into a little bit of electronics. And this little module here has some LED lights on it. There's a little circuit board inside, a little switch, and the module fits right inside there. And then during key parts of the show, my character will be trying to take advantage of what the amulet does, and it lights up for the audience. So I thought that would be extra special, something to add to the prop. And it comes in handy a couple of times during the show.
So the overall theme for this show is that we have lost boys lost on an island. And so that going along with that aesthetic, for both the scenery and the props, we're using kind of lost things or repurposing stuff. I've had a good time busting through the stashes in my craft room. So this is an example of one of the lost things that we're using. This is a popsicle stick pirate ship. I should say ship, not pirate ship, it's a ship. That we are using as part of the story. This particular ship is the HMS Neverland. We have another ship called the HMS Wasp. Again, just made out of popsicle sticks, some craft foam, some yarn, and lots of hot glue. That's been the fun part of this whole thing, though, is to really just repurpose items, upcycle, recycle, and not really go with anything new. We're using recycled stuff for this whole thing. So it's green and it's fun, and it adds to the lost feeling.
When I first started the show, I was unaware of how many props we would use during the show. And at the read-through, you generally don't get an idea of what props you need unless there's a specific line for it. Like fruitcake, which you're gonna have to come see to know what fruitcake means. But when we started rehearsing and everything, and it was like, oh, you're gonna have a cat, and it's like, okay, or you're gonna have a Jolly Roger, and it's like, okay, I can kind of visualize what you're trying to tell me. And then Aaron started bringing things in, and our prop tables kept growing and growing and growing. And in the end, we have all these little props that are so integral to the show. And without them, things just wouldn't work or make sense. And one of the things that is really cool that Aaron made are ships. We have these really cool model ships, and when Josh told me that I was going to be having ships at the beginning of the show, I had no clue what he meant. I was like, what do you mean ships? Like, are they gonna be like toy ships, or are they gonna be like full model ships? And Aaron made these super cool, like wooden model ships for us to have on stage. And they're just so detailed and beautiful, and getting to handle them in the show has been such a fun time.
So one of the limitations that we deal with when we have a show in the Black Box Theater versus, let's say, LCC, is that we don't have the opportunity to have a ton of drops for scene changes. So it's very critical that we have good storytelling, good acting, our scenery and our props all help convey that story and help with getting the audience to understand what's happening without having very obvious changes of scenery and background. So in this example, we have a ship, and the show features 2 ships actually. Our cast members are using this, it's a very narrator-driven story, and so they use this to kind of help the audience understand, here, this is what's happening on this ship. Meanwhile, on this other ship, the Wasp, object ABCD is happening, different things. So it helps people kind of keep track of what's going on, and it also helps pull people into the story itself. Right. So another one of the limitations, or ways that we deal with the limitation, not having a ton of scenery or a ton of scenery change options, is another way to repurpose an ordinary object. So we have a rope here, fits in with the whole pirate ship theme. Most of Act 1 takes place on one boat or the other. So we have actors who are taking lengths of rope to use them for other purposes, not just decoration. For example, they'll mimic the waves of the water when folks are going in and out of the water. They will use it to mimic, we have characters that have to go below deck, so we have a staircase for them to mimic going below deck. They will even make doorways with the ropes. In one case, they make a boxing ring with the rope. So it's just another clever way of a story device, if you will, to help tell the story and to get that audience to use their imagination, using the lost things, found things to help convey the story. And then lastly, one of the big things that we wanted to convey as part of the story, one of the characters that you never actually see, is not portrayed by a person, is Mr. Grin. Mr. Grin is a crocodile, and we wanted to give a nice, impressive visual of this menacing creature. So we have a couple of actors that will be holding up large umbrellas to make eyes, and then they are using bunting banners to make the image of the teeth. And with a couple of simple things, they make this very imposing visual of this menacing creature, and it looks fun and funny and menacing all at the same time.
Overall, like, all of the little props, so important, so needed for the show. And you would honestly be missing out if you didn't come see what all of our little props are, because they're hidden throughout the show. Some of them are in plain sight, some of them aren't. So you have to be paying attention the entire time for these little tidbits of information through our props. And again, this show is so much fun, and y'all should come see it because it's gonna be a smash, i.e. you get to smash one of the ships. So get your tickets, come and see us, because we would love to share this story with you. And it has been so much fun during this rehearsal process, and you would be really missing out if you didn't come see us.